It's big, it's beautiful, and you're gonna love it.
Welcome to Breakfast of Imbeciles, the thinking man's analysis of giant hamster balls, lunch lady larceny, ham, and all the other hard-hitting stories cable news doesn't want you to hear.
No, it's not.
It's different. It's unusual.
Nice.
Ladies and gentlemen, Breakfast of Imbeciles. That's right, I'm DJ Lunchbox here at Griffin Radio.
This is DJ Sammy Grant.
And DJ Keen.
Good morning, gentlemen. Thursday. We weren't here on Tuesday, unfortunately, but we were out having our remote on campus, which was honestly a hell of a lot of fun. We had a good time out there, big crowd.
Definitely, yeah. We had a good turnout.
What time did you get there? You don't have to say if you don't want to, if you feel like.
Oh no! Yesterday I had a meeting. I had to go to for treasurers for each club and stuff. So I had to represent Future Broadcasters of America.
Oh, that's cool. So you were there.
Yeah, I got to the meeting, got out around like 11 or so, and hung out.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Let's see. Let's get the formalities out of the way here.
I got free pizza from the job club. It was great.
And where is it?
Well, it's probably passed to my system now.
You didn't even get me a little plate? Pizza keeps.
Before or after passing to my system?
Nah. You know what? The views, comments, and opinions expressed on the show are those of the individuals and not necessarily shared by Griffin Radio, the Media Communications Department, Grossmont College, or the Grossmont Cuyamaca Community College District. This podcast is copywritten by Griffin Radio and Grossmont College 2018. Thank you very much. So I thought we would just get a couple announcements out of the way first of all here.
Please no more marshmallows.
It's actually funny you say that because this
I know, I saw that.
Let's see. There's a bonfire being hosted over on Fiesta Island by the International Club on September 28th from 6 to 9 p.m. Again, as I mentioned, Fiesta Island. It is free to attend, but you can carpool for $3. Meet at the flagpole at 5 p.m. So an hour before the event starts, meet at the flagpole out front. You pay $3, and you can all carpool out together.
That's cheaper than Uber, guys.
That is a lot cheaper than Uber. Deadline to sign up is the absolute latest you can sign up is the 26th, but that's only if you're a member. If you are not a member of the International Club, you have to sign up by the 20th. So today is by today you have to finish signing up by today, the 20th. If you're a member of the club, again, you can sign up until next week, but you know what? Why risk it? Just do it now. Do it now, won't you? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So once again, Grossmont College bonfire hosted by the International Club on the 28th from 6 to 9 on Fiesta Island. I think that sounds like a lot of fun.
You know, it's pretty cool having a roommate. Having an Uber driver for a roommate, because then I could just get free rides wherever I want. It's pretty cool.
Do you hear that rumble in your headphones? Is that the tractor outside?
I don't know.
Oh, I'm hearing something.
Okay, because I'm getting like a subsonic thing trying to.
It may not be the tractor outside.
Try turning the mics down a little bit.
I don't think it's that, but I'll definitely bring it down. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, right. So it's just me having a senior moment, I guess. I don't know. So I wanted to get this off my chest first of all before we get into the fun stuff, because frankly, that later. Don't preempt me. Don't spoil it for everybody. This is radio. Of course, they'll want to hear me with my shirt off. It'll make it sound that much fresher.
Man, you got a body for radio.
I really do. I'm built for comfort, not speed. I think I've mentioned that many times in class.
You look pretty comfortable.
May as well be shirts off. We already have our pants off.
Well, that's true. But I thought we would save that as a surprise till the last day of the semester for everybody else.
Pants off.
What?
Yeah.
Pants
you
off,
never heard
off.
that before?
There you go. No, I did hear what you said.
Oh.
So I went traveling to Utah a few weeks ago to go see some family, and it was just god awful.
Dude,
not the family, the travel. The family was fine.
I was in Utah late July to early August, and I was in Moab of all places.
Well, a whole side issue is I've noticed they don't pronounce things correctly in Utah, and I'm totally probably annoying Dr. Wierig with this whole regional pronunciations are correct philosophy. But so I was gonna go see some family, and I thought, okay, got this all planned out perfectly fine. I found a reasonable flight at a good time from San Diego straight to Vegas. Then from Vegas, I would rent a car, and then I would drive from there to my my parents' place.
Yeah.
3 hours, 4 hours tops. Hour flight, 2 hour drive. Boom, done. I get to the airport, and first of all, I'm a little bit annoyed because I didn't realize that the budget airline, Spirit, that I had chosen was at the farthest possible physical entrance from. Farthest possible physical ticket booth from the entrance. So I've got my little case and I'm on the tile behind me. I'm dragging it down there. So I get in line. There's 2 lines, and I can't really figure out.
Wait, can you make that sound again?
You gonna cut that for something later?
Probably.
So there's 2 lines, and I'm first of all, I'm already a little bit confused because there's 2 lines, and I can't really figure out why there's 2 separate lines, but there's only 1 person working the counter. So I get in the 1 line, and it says, if you have your tickets, stand here. So I'm like, fine. So the guy at the desk, he's working everything. He's doing everything he can that he's supposed to. It turns out that apparently they had some sort of emergency. So there's supposed to be 3 other people working the desks with him for all of these people. And of course, there's the big, fat, white guy in his cargo shorts and his khaki cargo shorts and his polo shirt. Where's the manager? I need to see the manager. Nobody's helping me over here. And he's making the big stink. So already I'm getting tense because there's people getting pissy in line. So that all gets resolved. I go through security as usual, get to the gate, which again is back on the other end of the airport from where the check-in desk was, which was already a lot of fun. So I got my case behind me, behind me on the the
And you see the fat guy again.
Fortunately, I did not see him again.
Okay.
But I got to the
gate.
I got to the gate and I sat down and I'm like, okay, I'm like an hour early. Everything's going perfectly fine. So I'm sitting there and I pull out my analog paper book because I figure I'm going to go old school and I'm reading Ringworld and I'm having a good time.
Analog.
And I'm not really paying much attention, and I realize that there's, by the way, it's the most boring gate I've ever been in. There's no windows whatsoever. It feels like a DMV turnstile. It's just walls and a door. So I'm sitting there reading and I realize nothing's happening. There's nobody getting lined up. There's like very few people actually coming to do anything. And I'm not wearing my glasses, so I'm looking at the check-in screen that they've got behind the gate.
Right.
And I can't really make it out, but I see like the last 2 digits on the arrival time look normal. So after a while, I'm like, something's not right here. I've been waiting a long time. So I look, and my flight has been changed from leaving at 8:15 to 11:30.
Huh.
Now I'm getting cranky. So I'm like, okay, if I had actually taken my initial instinct to get a rental car like I usually do because I like the road trip, I would still get there about the same time as I'm looking right now.
Wait, so so you're in Vegas now?
No, I'm still in San Diego. I have not left.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
So at about 10:45, my butt is numb by now. I'm halfway through my book. I'm
Those airport
tired.
seats are bad.
Pilot comes out and he goes, okay, so just so everybody knows, we have a plane that's approaching the gate. We're going to let everybody off really fast, and then if everybody could just play along and get on, Bimili!
They say
Bimili!
that. They
You're
say
just
that
in
for
time to
Spirit
listen to me,
Airlines.
bitch.
They say that in Spirit Airlines. We're gonna get everyone off really fast now, guys.
Yeah, they want to get everybody off the plane really fast.
They said that?
Yeah, they said we got to get everybody off the plane really fast, and we have to get you all on the plane really fast because if we don't get out of the gate by 11:30, there's an ordinance, there's a curfew in San Diego. So if we don't leave at 11:30, we're not leaving.
Sam, you're not the ticket price you're paying. You're not paying for professionalism.
Was there like a NASCAR pit crew outside, like changing the tires in the plane too, trying to get?
I would have appreciated that kind of professionalism.
Again, Sam, that would cost too much.
So, and we miraculously we get on the plane, we take off. I'm sure there was probably some police cars chasing us. You can't leave. It's after 11:30. We took off. Screw you guys. A lot of fingers out the windows. We get to Vegas. And we land, and it's fine.
That sounds like a Vegas trip right there.
We did land, so that's already a plus in the column of the travel here. So I get over to the rental car agency, and funny enough, it was the same girl working, and it's midnight by now. It's a little after midnight. Same girl working the counter that was there the last time I actually came by. We recognized each other, and her name's Ariel, and she was like, "Oh, hi!" and waving at me. And so I'm standing there, and I'm literally the only person in the rental area, the rental cars.
Right.
She goes, oh, well, can you just hang on? Our systems are updating right now, so it's going to be about 10 minutes until we can start checking you in. And I'm kind of like, all right. So again, I'm on the tile floor, and I'm just pacing around, tack it with my suitcase behind me. So eventually, she starts to check me in.
Check you out or check you in?
Well, it could be either. I honestly, it was so late I wasn't paying attention. So I had reserved this car 2 weeks ago, and I put down just the cheapest Ford Fiasco that I could find because it didn't matter. It was going to be me in a suitcase. She goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry, honey. We only have minivans left." And I'm like, minivans? And I can't take this because my mom's a little bit of a car nut, and so if I were to roll up to her place in Utah with a minivan, I would never hear the end of it. So she's like, "Well, just go take a look around out there and see what you get. See if you can find something you like." So I go out there, and I instantly find the kind of car that I was going to get. And I got closer to it. On the window is written, "Key locked in car." Okay, so that one's not available. So I walk across the parking lot again. I find something similar. Keys not found. I find another one. Maintenance required. And so
is this SLC?
No, this is in Vegas. This is now in Vegas, which, by the way, I love the Vegas
bad.
airport. It's like a time machine. It still reeks of cigarettes. It's the original carpet from when Elvis used to. What?
That's just Vegas in general.
Nah, they've been cracking down on smoking and stuff a little more in Vegas these days. But the
still
airport is
no, you
still
can't
like
smoke
that.
in the airport, but it still smells like it because it's
Yeah.
still the carpet from the 70s.
It's baked into the walls and the floors and stuff.
Yikes.
So I'm walking around. I find a rent. So anyway, I finally find a truck, a big freaking F-350, and I'm like, this is so ridiculously unnecessary. It's one person and a suitcase. So I get the thing, and I finally take off, and I leave the Vegas rental
Anything
facility.
but a minivan.
What's that?
Anything but a minivan.
You know, I would have settled for the minivan if it had been necessary, but I really didn't want. There was just some male part of me that was like, minivan, no minivan.
I got a story. I got a rental story that'll one up this, but
Well,
I'll let you finish.
I was gonna say, so I leave the rental facility, and it's about 1 o'clock in the morning now.
Nice.
1:30, and I'm already thinking, okay, I'm 4 hours behind schedule as it is here now. I get on the freeway in Vegas. In Vegas, by the way, main 15 freeway going north. I get stuck behind two tow trucks going about 15 miles an hour with their lights on, blocking both open lanes because they're doing major traffic in there right now. Turned out the 15 north at that point was actually blocked off. So I ended up going through downtown Vegas instead of the 15 because there were no signs, there was no lights. All of a sudden, instead of the 15 freeway, I'm now going over like tarmac down into the strip. So I make a couple of right turns, which, by the way, were completely illegal because there's a whole bunch of signs there that say, "Do not turn right here." And I'm like, screw you. It's 2 in the morning.
Any cops?
Possibly. I don't know. I was in my giant white F-350. I wasn't,
No one's going to mess with you in that.
So through a series of bizarre misadventures, I ended up, after some sort of non-Euclidean space, because, after 3 right turns, you figure you're still going your same original direction. But no. I ended up somehow on the west side of Vegas, on the other side of the freeway, where it's basically just a bunch of Korean strip clubs and 7-Elevens. And I think I passed an elementary school, so I think those kids were getting quite an education.
Welcome to Vegas.
It was really freaky. I actually had to
The stripping academy is right there.
The stripping academy, exactly. I had to flick my locks on because I was getting nervous. There's a whole bunch of cars that are looking real funky around there.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of getting to my parents' place around midnight or 1 as I'd expected, I rolled into my mom's place around 4 o'clock in the morning. And fortunately, she did not do the whole mom thing and stay up. She finally just crashed on the couch, and I was like, God bless you, I'm not waking you up. So I just, and of course, I've got my little suitcase going over to tile in her house. I'm trying not to wake her up, and her cat's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, nothing. So Spirit Airlines, everybody, Spirit Airlines. 3 hours of delay because apparently there was some sort of quote-unquote maintenance that had to be done.
Right.
Yeah, they locked the keys in the plane.
It all becomes clear now. The clarity has come to me. You are 100% correct.
Yeah.
Maybe they just needed to fluff the fuzzy dice.
That too.
All right, so my story is a little bit of little opposite of yours. So because for me, I actually bit the bullet when it came to the car I didn't want. So it was about 2 or 3 years ago, maybe. One of my friends from the military and myself, we coordinated to make a trip over to Texas to go see a mutual friend's family. and they're in East Texas, so it's like country out there. You know, like one house every like 10 miles.
Over there in Orange.
Like Tyler, Chandler. I don't know if you know where those places are. No, it's like
yeah, I've heard of that area before.
Like 2.5 hours southeast of Dallas.
Okay.
So I fly into DFW, and let me note that a week prior to my flight, I called one of the rental car companies over there and managed to, quote unquote, get a car confirmed, I guess you could say, right? So I arrive in Dallas. I wait for my friend to land because he came in. I flew out from San Diego. He came in from Michigan, and we're walking around, and I get to to one of the rental car booths, and something goes wrong for some reason.
Well, of course it does.
Yeah,
of course it does.
Yeah. So for some reason they wouldn't, like, even though they had my card information from the week prior, they wouldn't charge it. And it all came down because I wasn't, I'm still under 25, but yeah, I guess legally I can't rent a car by myself or something.
I think I don't think it's not a legal issue. I think it's a policy of the industry.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I went through every single booth there was over there to try to rent a car. Finally got to the last one. I'm not gonna say any brand names, but it was sounds like the name of a dollar store, basically. So
close enough.
I get there and I tell them my situation. I'm like, look, I've been through every single one of these counters. I just need a car so I can drive 2.5 hours to go see my friends. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. Well, with this policy that you're eligible for, blah, 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 we can give you this car. Have you ever heard of a Chevy Spark?
No.
No.
I have. Think of a... It's a smart car, basically. It's basically a Chevy smart car.
Okay.
Now, for those who don't know me, I am 6'5".
Yes, he is.
Uh-huh.
And they give me the keys. I'm walking out. I'm trying to find this car, and I press the alarms, and I see the lights go off in one of the headlights. And I'm just thinking, oh, no. Oh, no.
So is it like one of those little smart cars you see running around these days, the little shoes? Like those little tiny things like a Miata you got to sort of fold yourself into?
Yes, I was leading up to that. I had to fold myself into threes.
Could you have crushed it on your forehead like a beer can?
Probably, yes. And the worst part was, okay, so I could have maybe like I could have probably sat in the passenger seat comfortably, maybe try to adjust myself, or even just take the whole back seat if that was possible. If I could have gotten back there in the first place. My friend that I was with, he's a small guy. He's like, I'm gonna be nice to him and say he's like 5'7". But he had a recent foot injury while we were still in the Marines together. We were on a hike, and someone dropped a .50 caliber machine gun on his foot.
Oh God!
Broken in 7 different places. So he was walking around with a cane at that time, and he couldn't drive. So it was probably about midnight when we landed.
Ugh.
And we were only there for a weekend because I had to get back to work on Monday. So it was already Saturday morning. So that started eating up most of my time there. And we're driving, and I am like, I'm passing all these big rigs, all these 18-wheelers on the highway, and I'm looking up at them through my windshield, just thinking, oh man, these things are like, I'm gonna have like that Christmas Vacation moment where like they're driving under the truck.
Under the truck, yeah.
And when I got to Tyler, like when I was driving around the next day, so I finally get there. Everyone already made fun of me because they all have trucks over there or SUVs, and I'm driving around this little town, and I'm in a left turn lane, and this big old F-350 on the other side of the intersection gets the green light. My light's still red because oncoming traffic. Dude gets into my lane, like he starts driving towards me as if he's in my lane, and I'm just thinking, okay, wait, what's happening right now? Like this guy's driving towards me. He's either trying to run me over, or he's trying to mess with me because of the car I'm driving.
Could easily been both. Easily been both.
Yep. His side view mirror went over the hood of my car.
Are you sure he could even see you?
Well, that's your tiny little car was an affront to his sensibilities.
Oh man, it was bad. Oh, I was so crunched in that car.
So we're going to take just a little musical break here, and then when we come back, we're going to get to some news finally. I know that's what you're all news. Check us out on Facebook, Griffin Radio 119, Griffin Radio SD on Instagram, and make sure you listen to us on the TuneIn app at Griffin Radio, both for Android and iPhone. We will see you back here in just a moment.
You're listening to the Griffin Grossmont College Radio, El Cajon, California.
Good morning, everybody. We are back here. I'm DJ Lunchbox at Griffin Radio.
This is DJ Sammy Grant.
And DJ Keen.
And we got B. Millie sitting here with us, too, just kind of chaperoning and making sure we're not going to set fire to anything again. Or for the first time.
Yeah, he
for the first time again.
Yeah, for the first time again.
He had to leave all the pathetic little peasants in charge of the station. He wants to make sure it's still alive.
He's got a fire extinguisher in his hand, apparently, so wisely he does not trust us. And I think we're all safer for that. Let's see. So let's just kind of jump straight into the good stuff here. Let's see. I got my stories and got buttons to press. Managers of a German nursing home began to panic when they couldn't find a pair of elderly friends anywhere on the grounds. Police later discovered the men disoriented and dazed at a heavy metal festival. I think that just kind of sounds exactly what would happen there anyway.
Pretty much.
The unidentified pals left their nursing home in rural Dithmarschen district and likely hitchhiked and took public transit to travel 25 miles to the Wacken Open Air Festival near Hamburg. The Headbangers event is touted as the world's biggest metal festival. The two men, nabbed Saturday before dawn, were disappointed to miss the last day of the festival, which began on Thursday. But they were sent back home in a taxi, escorted by a patrol car, Deutsche Welle reported. I guess that's a newspaper there. The police said, we had to explain to them why they had to go home. But in the end, they went back voluntarily. Festival organizers apparently loved their escapade and paid homage to the aging metalheads without naming them by noting on the event's Twitter site that there is no discrimination against seniors because you're never too old to rock.
Yeah!
Absolutely.
I love that. I just have this image of like these kind of Cheech and Chong looking guys just hitchhiking.
I'm picturing like an old like senior citizen Beavis and Butthead.
Yes, there you go. Okay, that's much closer. Thank you.
That's a much better image.
I had a plug. I couldn't quite get that thought out. Thank you for saving me.
Of course.
I love that. Two best friends just taking a little road trip 25 miles down the road just so they can rock out. That's a good one. I like that.
Oh yeah.
And I love that the metal festival is like, come on down, bring your nurse, get your bag all up in here, sit down with us.
You guys got your meds? We don't want any liabilities. You got your meds, you're good to come in.
If you got your meds, pass them out, share them.
Exactly.
Don't hold them.
This one makes your poop soft.
God. Always, you don't just push the envelope, you lick it. You just go one step too far.
Breaking the law.
Oh, God. I was so debating whether I wanted to do this one, but it just really has to be said. This is a public service announcement, really. When condoms are properly used, they can prevent pregnancy, reduce the risk of sexually transmitted diseases, and may protect against other diseases like Zika and Ebola that spread, among other ways, through sexual contact.
Yes, that's the point.
That's why the CDC and Prevention felt obligated, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, felt obligated to be proactive about the proper use of prophylactics and warning against people trying to stretch their dollars by reusing old condoms.
Here, wash this.
The CDC released a tweet last week reminding people not to reuse or wash their rubbers. Dr. Elizabeth Tyrone, an epidemiologist at the CDC's Division of STD Prevention, said the people who reuse condoms are putting themselves at risk. Quote, incorrect use, such as reusing a condom or using more than one at a time, I don't know.
Is this still a thing? I mean, they told us not to do this when we had our.
Definitely don't.
When we had our sex.
Rubs against each other and can rip holes in the condom.
Well, I mean, in our sex ed classes in like junior high and high school, this is like I don't know about you guys. They said, "No, this does not work. Don't do this."
I'm double safe.
Could you double bag that, please? Thank you.
×2 defenses.
Let's see. Incorrect use, such as reusing a condom or using more than one at a time, diminishes the protective effect of the condom by leading to condom breakage, slippage, or leakage. Thank you for preempting me on that.
Of course.
Some people might think soap and water will kill all of the tiny microorganisms on the inside of the or outside of the condom, but that's not the case, she said. It just makes the latex more prone to tear. The warning comes at a time when STDs are on the rise, according to the CDC's National 2016 Surveillance Report. In 2016, more than 2 million cases of chlamydia, gonorrhea, and syphilis were reported in the U.S., according to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the highest number ever recorded. So, whenever somebody tells you,
Here, wash this.
do not listen to them.
I heard that from here.
What the...
Hey,
Yeah, wash this.
Oh man, I love that. Okay, this is just wild. This isn't like stupidity. This is just weird. A man in his 60s had gone to the doctors complaining about discomfort while he tried to sleep, and he could hear noises like something was beating a drum, much like what I'm hearing on my headphones right now, which comes and goes, so it's those damn tractors out there. Ear, nose, and throat specialist Q Shulin shared footage of the moment he found a bean-sized spider about 2 inches deep in his ear during an endoscope exam.
Ugh.
The medic from Dalian Central Hospital in northeastern China. Why does this stuff always happen in China? There's always like a medical story or a food story, and it's always just got that one extra really weird element. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just because there's more people in China, so statistically there's more
over
likely.
a billion people just means this stuff happens.
Yeah,
more.
statistically there's more likely to have weird things happen because there's more people for it to happen too.
Hooray for stats.
Yay, I passed that class barely.
I haven't done it yet.
I'll let you have... Oh, no, I threw my notes away. Never mind. The medic from the Dalian Central Hospital, northeastern China, said the man was complaining about a possible insect in his head. A possible insect? How is that something that you leap to? Like, well, I don't know. It could be an earwax buildup, or I could have a bug. I could have a bug in my ear.
Earwax buildup, ear infection, there could be a spider in
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah, that's always on my list.
Usually when someone says, or I could have a bug, they don't mean it literally.
It probably made a little igloo out of the earwax.
It's funny you say that, too. Unnamed patient told the doctor, I felt discomfort in my ear while sleeping last night, but I tried to ignore it. This morning, the discomfort was still there, and there were noises like something was beating a drum. Dr. Kui and his nurses were stunned when the endoscope revealed the live spider having occupied the patient's ear canal so deep. It had also spun an elaborate web to shield itself, the footage shows. The experienced doctor eventually flushed out the spider by spraying the patient's ear canal with water, later confirming the man suffered no injuries.
So it just crawled out of its ear.
He just flushed it out. He just got a little pipette and just flushed out the spider.
What size must this thing have been that it spun a whole web inside his ear canal?
Inches, right?
Yeah, I think you said it was like the size.
It was 2 inches deep. Yeah, it was the size of a bean.
Not big.
Okay, when they say the size of a bean, I'm guessing they mean including the legs, because there's no way you could have a spider the size of a bean and the legs moving around, weaving webs.
No, they mean the entire body of the spider.
Yeah, what kind of bean are we talking? Lima beans? Kidney beans? That changes the game. It's a lima bean.
Oh, you and your questions, you and your logical inquiries. You know I don't look these up in any great detail. I just find the sensational headlines just to make it interesting.
You know what? It's the size of a spider bean. We'll just put it at that.
Spider bean. Yeah, there we go. Spider bean. Okay.
He just types Darwin Award winners in Google and gets the stories.
Let's see. Scientists were stunned after a satellite spotted a fleet of rusting ships abandoning in a desert miles from sea. The four massive deep sea ships defied the laws of physics to become stranded in the vast wilderness in Kazakhstan. The QuickBird Earth observation satellite captured them from 280 miles above the country. It's hard to wrap your head around what's going on in this image, Canadian explorer George Coriolis said. You've got a vast desert where you would expect there to be no water whatsoever, and yet in the middle there is a fleet of rusting ships. Indeed, the nearest body of water, the Aral Sea, suitable for the type of boat, is miles to the southwest of the desert. That's just wild. I wonder if that's where they filmed Winter Soldier, whatever it was, or the Ultron, where they were fighting on those ships in the middle of it.
Maybe the ship sank so deep that they came out on the other side of the world.
Oh, shut up.
No, but that might have been a place where Uncharted, the game, got some inspiration from, with the U-boat in the middle of the jungle.
Oh, that's a good point. That was a good game, too. Let's see. After extensive research, which lasted years, the investigators found the area was once covered by a massive sea which has since vanished. Sean O'Connor, a military analyst, said, "Due to the substantial interest in Kazakhstan as part of the Soviet Union during the Cold War, there is a substantial amount of cataloged information analysts can get back to. The enormous vessels had been designed to travel in deep water."
I beg your pardon. You're telling me there was a whole sea that disappeared? Do you realize when human beings made ships, not long enough ago for a sea to evaporate and disappear?
I'm not telling you anything.
This is generations.
I am just a conduit here. I am reporting what Greg Coronis, a Canadian explorer, has told us.
So this sea has been disappeared, and these ships have been left there rusting. And they're like, oh, you know what? Maybe we just go far back enough to the Cold War. We'll figure it out.
That is unbelievable.
Isn't that wild?
Has anyone investigated David Copperfield?
Somebody should.
Oh,
and I don't think the word is so much investigated as evaluated.
That is unbelievable. How does a sea disappear?
It just evaporated over time, I guess. I don't know. Maybe somebody drained it. Maybe there was construction going on. Maybe there's some sort of inlet that they blocked off so water stopped flowing into it.
Don't worry about that. The whole sea just evaporated last spring. That's all.
Sea's, well,
maybe someone had a bucket.
Well, they said it was Soviet-era vessels, so I mean, these things have been there for decades. So it wasn't like it happened Thursday.
I know, but still, I think it'd take longer than that for a whole sea to evaporate.
I would say the same thing. It's going to take longer than like 50 years for a sea to evaporate.
So what's between B and D now?
Between what?
I said, what's between B and D now?
What's between B?
Absolutely nothing, Sam.
There we go.
Absolutely nothing.
You guys are taking a little too long to get there.
Thank you, Steven.
I swear.
Right over your heads.
You know what? I'm
over my head.
I'm gonna get up
my
from this chair.
reflexes are too fast.
I'm gonna come over there, and I'm gonna smack you. You're unruly. You're just. I don't think I like this new show of independence in you, Sam. This is not pleasing me.
It's not my show, so I can do whatever I want.
Suck.
Pretty much. The only people that are gonna suffer when Sam does whatever he wants is you and maybe me.
You asked me to be here. Remember that.
Yeah.
I could have been on my computer.
I immediately regret this decision.
You could still be on your computer right now.
We've got enough extra people in here. We could throw Sam out.
Oh, God.
Yeah, but you don't want to.
Let's see. A zoo in Cairo is allegedly showing its true stripes by passing off painted donkeys as zebras.
Help me find my zebra stripes, black and white zebra stripes. Help me find my zebra stripes, I've lost my zebra stripes.
Mahmoud Sarhan recently visited the International Garden, a municipal park in Cairo, and immediately became suspicious of the animals in the zebra exhibit. For starters, their ears were bigger and their snouts were lighter than those of typical zebras. Sarhan's picture of the suspicious zebra went viral after he posted them on Facebook. Although the zoo's director, Mohammed Sultan, insisted his zebras were 100% legit to local radio station Noguom FM, a local vet told the Cairo-based Extra News TV that a zebra's snout should be black and the stripes should be more consistent and parallel, according to the BBC. I wish I'd thought to bring the photos in because it basically just looked like Banksy had gone after a mule. It was so obvious.
Once a vet becomes involved, don't you just say, okay, fine, you caught me at that point?
Well, they'd also gotten wet at
some
point, so the stripes had begun to run.
You try to bribe the vet. That's the next step.
You know, every week I come in here Tuesday, Thursday, not in the class, and I am consistently surprised by the creativity that comes from Justin's SOTs that pair with his news stories, because it is like a spark of like a Renaissance era genius when he sees a headline and knows a sound that is going to match it perfectly, and like you see it happen like in an instant. Like he'll see the story. I've seen the process go down, and then he'll immediately go on YouTube and be like, I know the exact sound effect that will go with this. Sometimes he'll search, but
I love that you assume there's enough thought in here that there's a process.
Oh my god!
That I'm not just hunting Google with like 8 tabs open.
Astounds me to this day the amount of creativity that comes with your
now.
SOTs.
I will tell you. I have to, in full disclosure, I have to say that particular clip, I could not think of anything for fake zebras, and I stumbled across that one. I got lucky. That was a gold mine.
I thought that was like from a kid's cartoon back in the day or something.
Yeah, that sounded like a Sesame Street
it's a
or
little
something
flash
sort
video.
of thing.
You are an artiste.
By the way, that the amount of the song that played was as much as I was physically able to subject myself to.
Yeah,
I could not listen to anymore, and I gave it minimal editing because I could not make myself listen to that song on repeat, cleaning it up, cutting pieces out of it, making sure. I couldn't even listen to it long enough to give it a fade at the end. It was toxic, and it was stuck in my head for the rest of the night, and I couldn't sleep.
honestly, I'm just amazed every time I come in saying, how is he possibly going to one up the stories he found last time? And somehow you do it.
It's just it's random searches, I swear. It's nothing. Let's see.
Splish splash, I was taking a bath. Long about a Saturday night.
Police in Louisiana say a woman came home to discover a naked stranger in her tub eating her Cheetos while taking a bath, reports the AP. A police report affidavit said that 27-year-old Evelyn Washington was arrested on burglary and property damage charges. The Fort Worth Star-Telegram reports Washington was, quote, caught orange-handed with nowhere to run, and that after a responding officer found a tub full of water and a plate of food with half-eaten Cheetos belonging to the victim on the toilet next to the tub. So she just decided to break in, draw herself a little toilette, have a kind of a spa evening. It doesn't say what was on the plate, but I'm assuming it was a nice, cheese board. Some cheese and some flatbread, maybe some grapes.
What's your style?
I don't know about breaking into someone else's house to do it, but that just sounds like a nice, fun evening.
Yeah. I mean, why not? Washington told the homeowner and the police that an unknown male told her to break into the house. Police found a tall ice chest under a broken window, so maybe she was coming prepared. She didn't want to steal that woman's Cheetos and make a plate of food. She was going to bring her own food, but I think she probably just couldn't lift her own ice chest into the house.
Have you heard of sneaking into a movie theater with your own food? Now you can sneak into someone's house with your own food.
So maybe this woman had some really good Blu-rays that she wanted to watch or something.
Oh, she probably had like a projector screen TV or something.
I just envision this woman with like huge bad perm frizzy red hair,
wearing the owner's bathrobe,
a little heavy in the saddlebags, cucumbers on her eyes, a line of a clown mouth of Cheeto dust around her lips, just long acrylic nails on the edge of the tub, just leaning back, just maybe listening to some Enya. Maybe listening to some Achy Breaky Heart, just kind of getting her groove on, eating the bathtub, just chilling out after a nice meal, just rounding it off with some Cheetos.
And a box of wine next to her that she's just
probably rinsing the Cheeto dust off in the bathtub.
Just clearing her palate with a little half box of Franzia.
I envision like cheap dollar store candles that you like click on and like rose petals, and she just like expected somebody else to be there.
Oh yeah, just like a bag of those dollar tea lights that just smell of like really chemically patchouli and sandalwood, the kind of stuff that they would normally throw away.
Yeah. But she probably got lucky as well. The person who owned the bath probably had some nice bubbles or bath salts or something like that she could use. And
it doesn't say if she had taken advantage of the woman's bath supply of her bath products, but that's a good point. I just see her sitting there, big bubbles all over the place.
Yeah,
just relaxing.
Image in your head.
Oh, it's terrifying. It's terrifying what's going on up in here right now. Let's see. You know what? I don't like that story. There's this one story on here I have about. I'm not even going to really go into it in detail, but I was kicking it around for like 3 weeks, and I just can't really. This woman basically brought her daughter home after a sleepover, after her daughter called her begging to come home because the parents of the hosting child made all of the kids take tests to see how intelligent they were. And apparently she didn't score very well on the test and was crying, and the parents were calling her a stupid child. So she was begging to be brought home.
Wow. How little do you know about your children's friends that you don't know their parents are these uptight, waspy, just...
It was somewhere in the UK. I don't have a location, and they edited out the mother's name and the child's name, obviously, because you don't want to put that into a news story. When I got my daughter back into the car, she told me that the mother had made them do spelling and math test questions and told her that she was stupid when she made mistakes. So it's like, that's just sad. That's not funny. That's just bad people.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I got that one out of my system. It's off the list. I'm not going to feel like I skipped anything. I think we will do one more because...
Yeah, I don't think that one would have worked as a funny news story. That's about idiots making fools of themselves.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's like my problem with crank calling. When radio stations crank call businesses or people, that makes me really uncomfortable because they're not doing anything. They're not bothering you. They're just minding their own business. Mm-hmm. But have you heard of Phil Hendry?
Sounds familiar.
He's this incredibly talented performer on the radio who does, I think he's got like 50 different voices, very distinct voices, personalities. And he's been doing them for so many years that they almost have their own bios. They all have names. And so his radio shows, he will call and he will talk about a topic. And it's a fairly reasonable topic. There's nothing too unusual about it. And then he'll say, okay, and now my guest is Bobby Dooley, which is the name of one of his more famous characters. And so then he talks to his quote-unquote guest, who's actually him on the phone filter. So he's talking to himself. There is no real person. And the guest he's talking to himself starts throwing out, it increases. The conversation becomes increasingly surreal. So... The one show I had heard about was back in the 90s. He was doing it was during the whole Prop 187 anti-immigrant law that they were trying to pass. And so he had done this character where the guy was a very charitable giver. He was going down to Tijuana. He was picking up a bunch of people who wanted to come up and see a baseball game. And then it turns out it wasn't his responsibility to find them after the game to take them back to Tijuana. And so that was the joke, is his character was doing stuff. So he would have these people just call up and just be so upset. How dare you? And that's the funny part to me, is when you goad people into calling you because they have this whole holier-than-thou sense of righteousness kind of thing. Yeah. That's hysterical. I don't remember what got me off onto this jag, but I felt very strongly about it, clearly.
No, we were talking about news stories that weren't, like, things that weren't funny, because you were saying, like...
Okay, yeah. Thank you. So thank you for bringing my point home. So if I crank call you, that's not funny. If I'm doing content and I do something that outrages you to call me, then that has the potential to be funny.
Yeah, that's forcing you to respond to me. You don't have to respond to me, but if I call you,
we have the mic.
If you
have
crank,
the power.
If you crank call yourself and then make all the idiots out there that agree with your fake self feel bad because you make a fool of your fake self, that's good. That's content.
All right, I think we will do one more here. Got a good one. KYTV reports a small town of Uranus, Missouri launched a new newspaper just days after Gatehouse Media said it was shuttering Pulaski County's local paper, The Daily Guide. The new publication's editor, Natalie Sanders, led the Daily Guide before leaving in June to start what she calls a fun paper that will include local news and promote the tourist town of Uranus, which is pronounced the way any self-respecting class column would say it.
Wait. Before you go further in the story,
yes, it was called Uranus.
I'm just picturing that this new newspaper that they're doing is got to be called the News Hole.
Oh, that's good.
The new newspaper is called the Uranus Examiner.
I mean, I'm sorry.
That's good, too.
That is really quality.
Uranus, Mississippi sits along historic Route 66 and is known for its quirky attractions, including a belt.
Someone knew what they were doing.
They're known for their quirky attractions.
Exactly what they were doing when they did this.
Including the world's largest belt buckle and a fudge shop.
Well... When you go to see the world's largest belt buckle, sometimes you want to eat some nice fudge.
Is it the world's largest wearable belt buckle, though?
You'll have to ask Travis Tritt. I don't know.
I beg your pardon. You're telling me that the Uranus Examiner's hometown specializes in a fudge?
What's the?
I mean,
yes.
I mean, they're throwing fastballs at us, and we're just knocking it out.
I
of
almost
the park.
fell out of my chair.
There's something that didn't quite get across to me here when you were talking about that. Is the world's largest belt buckle home to the fudge shop?
No. Not
How?
according to this.
How?
I don't know. I don't know. It says including a fudge shop and the world's largest belt buckle. So I'm assuming they wouldn't want to put all their eggs, in one basket.
Yeah.
I guess they'd want to spread it around.
I guess first they'd have to make the world's largest pair of pants and put the fudge shop in there.
Wait. So how's their fudge export? Does it flow out nicely from the town, or is it kind of hard to get the stuff out there?
I mean,
I'm about to take a point away from you and mute your microphone here. Settle down.
I mean, how do we do this?
We just can't stop. It just comes to us.
Luge Hardman, the mayor of nearby Waynesville, where the Daily Guide was based, says she thinks the innuendo surrounding the new publication's name will bring public ridicule. I can't believe I didn't make a sound for that.
You shouldn't have gotten rid of the old publication then. That's the point.
I bet you the truck and export company is called Trucklex.
Also, not to be devil's advocate here, but I'm going to remember the Uranus Examiner much more than the Waynestown whatever it is that's next to it. Uranus,
that's true.
Yeah, I have. I mean, you said it more recently than the other one, and I have no idea what the name is, but I definitely remember Uranus.
Well, you know what? The town is also known for its local Charmin factory, too, so they print a lot of toilet paper there, too. I completely made that up.
Okay, cool.
that would have been just the right place to have that factory.
As long as they're steering into the skid,
That just wouldn't have been funny to me. I mean, at that point, I'm just, okay, you know what? You're doing this to yourself, you guys. I bet you the town founder was like, when they were a kid, they're like, you know what? When I grow up, I'm going to do something funny.
I think that towns that have names like that have weird or quirky names, should lean into it.
Oh, yeah.
It's so much more fun if you.
It's like the story we did where the couple had the steamy letters that they'd written back and forth when he was overseas. What?
You said steamy.
Yeah.
Different story. Settle down.
Okay.
I swear. My finger is hovering. I will cut you off. Except that was Steven's microphone.
Yes, you will cut me and be Millie off because you're angry at Sam.
It's like the story we did about the steamy love letters, where the girl was passing out she was 3 years old and she decided to play postal worker and passed out all of her parents' sex letters to the neighbors. The dad was like, "That's hysterical. You know what? We thought we'd hidden them properly, but my wife just simply pretends it never happened."
Is this
the dad just leaned into it.
Was this not in the past 10 years?
Okay.
I mean, do they not?
This was in the 60s.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say.
Yeah. So it like much like the lovers there with their letters. This town, you just got to lean into it.
Yeah. If you have a weird town name, don't try and fight it. Just lean into it. You're making fun of yourself, it just comes off as fun.
Yeah. So is the world's largest belt buckle is it undone?
Okay, let go of the belt buckle.
Get off the buckle.
We'll talk about this later. I'll give you all the information that you want.
I want to know when this town was founded.
He can't stop talking about the belt buckle because he thinks it might finally be one that'll fit him.
Oh, ouch.
Oh.
Wah, wah, wah.
Okay, so we got about 8 minutes now. Do you guys have time to do one more? I know some of you have to get to class.
I have to get to class, but if you guys don't,
either of you guys,
please, I will listen on my way.
Okay, we'll do one last one and then wrap up the hour.
Thank you for having me, guys. Thank you so much. Again, the highlight of my Tuesday and Thursday, honestly.
God, that's so sad.
It's great having you in here anytime you want to be in here, honestly. It's just a lot of fun.
Now you're bringing me down. See you later.
Later.
A Japanese hotel is offering guests one of the strangest check-in experiences possible, a reception desk manned by robot dinosaurs. Whether it's Japanese, English, Korean, or Chinese, a pair of animatronic dinosaurs at the front desk are more than happy to assist customers arriving at a hotel in East Tokyo through the use of a tablet system. The hotel belongs to the Henna chain, which means weird, who claims to offer the world's first hotels staffed by robots. Okay, I envision it. I envision it so perfectly, and I want to stay here.
No, I think it'd actually be better, because unlike Jurassic Park, you don't have to worry about getting eaten in this new world.
I didn't say Jurassic Park, I said Skynet.
Let's see. The robot detects guests' motion on approach and bellow out, "Welcome!" and gesture with their long arms. However, the icing on the cake are the tiny little bellboy hats that perch at the top of their heads.
Mm-hmm.
These are 2 animatronic raptors parked behind the check-in desk with little pillbox hats strapped to their heads.
Well, do we know if they're, like, hyper-realistic looking, or are they
No, they don't.
goofy
they
looking?
Don't look. They look like. I mean, it was kind of a lowest bidder sort of thing. Somebody took a couple of robotic raptors and draped the skin over them. I mean,
screw it. We'll put a bellboy hat on it. We'll call it a day.
It's Universal Studios looking kind of thing. You know, you probably hear the little. As they turn around.
It would have made more sense them like screaming welcome and having bellboy hats and stuff if it was sort of goofy or cartoony looking. But if it's just bad animatronics,
this sounds cool and all, but I'm just picturing like a cross between Terminator and Jurassic Park right now, and just seeing robotic velociraptors chasing me down a hallway, possibly riding a bellboy.
Well, you're just having flashbacks. You're just having a trip. Something probably came loose in your brain, and you're just having a delayed trip here.
He's having future flashes.
Future flashes. There we go. Just
something came so loose in his brain. He's now having PTSD flashes of something that hasn't happened yet.
Let's see. Despite the novelty of the situation, the hotel's manager Yukio Nagai has said some of the customers find the dinosaurs slightly unnerving. Here's a quote. Here's my favorite quote of the morning. "We haven't quite figured out exactly when the guests want to be served by people and when it's okay to be served by robot dinosaurs." So they're working on that. They're doing a little research. They're looking into it.
Someone talked their wife into taking the honeymoon there. I bet you.
They need to have a survey at the front desk that says, "Do you fear AI will take over the world? If yes, human server."
All right. So I'm going to start to wrap it up here a little bit.
I'm going upstairs now and think about more comments for tomorrow.
But before I go, I just wanted to put another little announcement out here. You can meet with an admission officer from UC San Diego in a 30-minute session in the Transfer Center, which is Building 10, Room 173. They have 2 meeting days available, so sign up now if you're interested in transferring to UCSD. They have meeting days on September 20th, today, and October 2nd from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Make sure to sign up for the UC Transfer Admission Planner and enter all your coursework before making your appointment at UC TAP. That's Unicorn Charlie T Thomas Apple Pear / universityofcalifornia.edu. So UCTAP / universityofcalifornia.edu.
Isn't T Tango, not Thomas?
Tango.
I don't know. I
know you don't know, but I thought I remembered it being Tango.
But now I'm just picturing a unicorn named Charlie.
Well, aw. We'll have to YouTube that. I'm sure there's going to be one on there.
Charlie the Unicorn.
Unicorn named Charlie Thomas.
Have you guys never watched Charlie the Unicorn?
I absolutely know what Charlie the Unicorn is.
Not me.
Are you denying it, or are you?
No, I never have.
Okay.
No. Oh no.
Then you need
I think my history has shows that if I had found something shameful or horrible to watch, I would be the first one to admit to it.
Wow, the fact that you've actually done all that research on that stuff surprises me that you have not seen Charlie the Unicorn.
Nope. Nope, never have. So we are going to get out of here, everybody. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook at Griffin Radio 119. You can also check us out on Instagram at Griffin Radio SD on the TuneIn app. And on the... Wow, I can't. I'm mixing up all my stuff here. I'm doing 4 things at once. Instagram, you can look it up Griffin Radio. You can find us on the TuneIn app at Griffin Radio on your iPhone or Android. You can listen to us on grossmont.edu/Griffin Radio. Send me an email at lunchboxthedj here at gmail.com. I would be happy to take any suggestions or hear any comments you might have to say about the show. Thank you very much, everybody. We will talk to you next week.